We're now going to go ahead and begin our media availabilities for today. We are joined by Martin Truex Jr., driver of the number 19 Bass Pro Shops Toyota for Joe Gibbs Racing. Congrats on your win in Las Vegas, Martin. We'll go ahead and open it up for questions. Please raise your hand and we will get a mic down to you. We'll start over here with Lee.
LeeSpencerRacingBoys.com. What kind of a relief is it for you and Cole and the team to have that win and just be able to concentrate on the next round? I know you're not going to stop trying to win, but what kind of a buffer does it give you guys, or a cushion?
Well, I think first of all, it was good timing just because we'd had, I don't know, 5-6 races or whatever in a row where we felt like we were doing the right things and our cars were fast and we felt like we were performing well, and we weren't getting really good finishes. We had a lot of stuff happen. So it's nice when those things kind of go away and, you can say, okay, yeah, we were doing the right things. So it's a good confidence booster. It came at a good time. And I think the bonus points are, something that are really critical. We didn't finish where we hoped to in the regular season points. We lost a few spots through that little stretch there of things happening to us. So bonus points were huge, and just good timing to start the playoffs that way for the confidence and for the whole group, not just me, not just Cole, but everyone, and to know that we got a shot at this, and the hard work pays off, and see what we can do from here.
We're going to come down here to Tyler and then over to Brad.
Tyler Burnett, MRN. You were obviously good at the Roval last year. Are you good with the changes that they made? Do you think it will help?
Yeah, I am actually. I think it'll be really good, a really good change. I thought last year the backstretch chicane was it was just there, kind of just slow us down a little bit. It wasn't really a corner where you could make passes or make moves, or it was kind of like you just tried to get through there without crashing every lap because it was so fast. So I think with it being more like the bus stop at Watkins Glen, I think it'll be good. More braking. More of a braking zone, a place maybe we can make some more passes. So I think it'll be awesome. We'll just have to wait and see, but looking forward to that.
Brad Gilly, PRN Sirius XM. Tomorrow night's race, do you see it playing out a lot like it did in the spring based on what you felt in practice?
I don't know. I'm not real sure. I hadn't thought about it. It's hard to say. I mean, I think for us, we're just trying to get our car dialed in the best we can, and came here with a few different ideas to try to be better. Felt like maybe it wasn't quite as good. So, in there making some decisions right now about which way to go. But I would say that, that race was a long time ago. A lot of people learned a lot of things, and, we'll have to see who's gotten better and can we keep up with them. So, we'll wait and see. But I felt okay about our car speed-wise. We just got to get it driving a little bit better.
We're going to go to the two cameras in the back and then down here to Claire.
Mark Davis from NBC 12 here in Richmond. Having won the entire thing back in 2017, does that give you guys kind of like a blueprint that you kind of follow now that you're at this point, or is every year unique, or maybe a combination of both?
I think it's a combination of both. I think, we certainly know how we did it, but duplicating that is really tough when you're out there against such tough competition. So things change. Obviously, the cars are way different now than they were in 2017. So that kind of changes things more than anything. But just having that experience, I think, and knowing what it takes, knowing how to get through those pressure-filled situations, I think is huge. And we've got that on our side, and now we just got to figure out how to continue to perform at a high level.
Martin Truex, Sean Robertson with CBS 6 here in Richmond. With multiple teammates in the playoffs, is it a situation where you guys exchange notes to help each other out, or is it now every man for himself despite all of you guys being in the postseason?
Yeah, I mean, we share everything. The teams, the crew chiefs, the drivers, we all, we share everything. So basically we're teammates and as good as we can be. And once the race starts on Saturday night, then that's when it's every team for themselves, You race as hard against your teammates, almost, I guess, as hard as you race everybody else. But definitely nothing changes throughout the playoffs as far as sharing notes and all that goes along with that. It all stays the same.
We'll come down here to Claire and then in the back to Jordan.
Claire B. Lang, Sirius XM NASCAR Radio, specifically Kyle Busch. Kyle hates to lose, but behind the scenes, everyone knows he hates to lose to you, right? How is that when you know you have a teammate that it obviously just drives him crazy when you beat him?
I don't know. I don't really. Nobody likes to lose. I mean, it's not. We're all here to win. We all work hard to try to win, and you're disappointed when you don't. Everybody handles it a little bit differently. For me, I just I don't like to lose either. But I feel like the longer I do this, the more I enjoy winning, and the more I can deal with losing. I don't like it, but it's part of the deal. And we've had a great season. We've won 5 races. How many races have we not won? So just trying to manage those expectations and stay positive and try to, do all the right things is kind of what I focus on.
Go to Jordan.
Jordan Bianchi, The Athletic. Martin, how much preparation for the road course races, the Roval, Sonoma, Watkins Glen, do you do in the simulator?
Not a lot. It just depends on what the team wants, what they're looking for, what they need help with. Maybe if they have some questions about trying some new things on the car, that's usually when I'll get in there and try to help. As far as like me driving it and trying to adapt to a track or warm up to it or anything, I don't really do a whole lot of that anymore. I did years ago, but I feel like I've been doing this long enough now that if I hadn't figured it out, I probably should find something else to do.
All right, we'll come down here to Al and then back to Lee.
Al Pearson, Auto You've always had pretty good equipment. You've never been a so-called back marker. Do you ever feel an obligation or an inclination to go to some of these guys at the back of the field and say, let me give you a little help here? Or do you think they might not take that well if you said to somebody, why don't you try this instead of that? We're going to pass you. Is there anything y'all can do to help that situation with the slower guys being in your way?
I mean, I think there's probably some constructive criticism that could be given that may help the situation. I've not tried to do it. I just let them do their thing, and I do mine.
Go ahead, and then we'll go to Lee.
Is there any work ahead benefit, like to start preparing for the second stage of races, having secured your spot there? Is there anything you guys can do for the second 3 races that you can do now that you can get a head start on because you've secured a spot?
It's not really as far as building equipment and working on cars and things like that. I mean, I think that for Cole and James to maybe work on some setup stuff or just think ahead a little bit more because they have a little bit of time. They're not completely stressed out about the next 2 weeks where they can say, all right, we can start looking at, Dover a little bit closer and try to, gain an advantage there just by thinking about it longer. But as far as building parts and pieces and equipment, no, I mean, it's already all set and the teams kind of have a plan for all that.
Come down to Lee.
I wanted you to talk a little bit about the event you all had this weekend, and you do so much from a philanthropic standpoint. How does that help give you balance between, what's important as far as your passion goes on the track and what's important with your passion off the track?
Yeah, I think it's just good for, to keep a good perspective on life and how things really are outside of this little world that we live in that won't be here forever for us, So it's just a good constant reminder of things about, things people deal with and kind of how fortunate we are to do what we do. So we had a great event this week, Karting for Cancer at GoPro Motorplex, and raised just a little bit over $35,000. So it was just a fun night, to be able to go out there with a bunch of friends and race go-karts, and everybody had a blast. And to raise money on top of that was a good thing. So yeah, it was fun to see everybody, and we had a lot of support as always, which is always special. And now excited to be here at Richmond to try to keep things going.
We'll go over to the left to Dustin.
Dustin Long, NBC Sports. Martin, can you give me a sense of what it is like for a driver the latter part of the season when you don't know what you're going to be doing for next year? There's the uncertainty. You've kind of had that, I think, especially I know a few years back, but I think probably more than that. What that cloud is like, how much that can be consuming, and how did you feel like at times you handle that, or what it made you do on or off the track, and worrying so much about trying to impress people?
Well, it's definitely a difficult situation. I've been in it a few times. I always just tried to focus on, that stuff during the week, and don't bring it to the racetrack. Don't bring it with you. Don't hold the burden of, you know how to do your job. Your job is to drive a race car, and the more clearly you can think about just that, the better job you're going to do. So if you start thinking, well, I got to do this because I need a job, or I got to do that because I need a job, then you weren't trying hard enough in the first place. You can't just come in and change who you are and how you do things just because of a situation you're put in, right? So for me, it was always just, and I know some guys that are going through this now, and I'm sure they're doing the same thing. There's nothing you can do about it during, on the weekend while you're driving the car. You got to just go out there and give it your best, do the best job you can, and worry about that stuff during the week.
Certainly you were in a high-profile situation, so you would be asked about it at the track. So again, whether it was media.
That's the only time you think about it at the track is when you get asked.
But my guess is you were probably being asked by more than just media, even guys coming up in the garage or people coming up. So I guess my question is, I don't understand how you can box it out when it's
not that hard.
Okay.
I mean, it wasn't for me. It might be for some others. Yeah, honestly. I mean, I'm just being honest. It was, I just didn't want to talk about it. It was like, it's fine. It'll work itself out. I mean, it's all you do. I mean, it's focus on your job.
Are there any last questions?
Yeah. Well, you work on your options. You talk to people, see what's out there. What can I do? What do I got to do? What are the options? And then kind of try to set your plans. You have the teams. What teams are you talking to? What teams is there a possibility to talk to? All those type of things. Thank you.
Are there any final questions? We'll go right here in the middle. Sorry.
Nick Vanderlock, RSN. Martin, just kind of like going back to last week with the backmarker situation, is there a proper etiquette you feel that cars or drivers in that situation, multiple laps down, guys on the lead lap trying to get positions, should follow a lane they should follow depending on the track?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, depending on the track, they should, probably, not be in the lane that the leaders want to run. But that gets tricky at a place like Vegas where, you can basically run all over it. That's where the tough part is. I think, it's a tough deal. It's tough. I mean, last week I seen what happened. The closing rate was insanely huge. The guy that was out there was not only slow to begin with, but wrecked. I mean, he had a tough night, and his car was beat up, and it was very slow. So, I don't know if we need to look at minimum speed maybe a little closer, or if just maybe not run right through the middle of the racetrack. It depends. It's different every week. It's different every situation. It's different for every car. There's no really clear-cut answer on how to make this easier on everybody.
And wrap it up. Thanks
Thanks,
Martin.
guys.
Good luck
Appreciate
this
it.
weekend.